All right, guys, let's knock out this review. So be nice and ready for your test. On the top of the review, just like on your test tomorrow, you have the only two formulas you want to need. You're not going to need those for a little while. The first few problems you don't need a formula for. So let's just get through this thing. It says, number one says find the first four terms, and then A9 and A1 for this sequence. This says AN equals 5N plus 1. To find the first term, we're just going to plug in 1. Oops, should be plus 1 there, which is going to be 6. To find the second term, we're going to plug in 2. Okay, having trouble, sorry about this, which is 11. For the third term, we're going to plug in 3. 5 times 3 plus 1, that's 16. You can see the pattern developing. It's increasing by 5. Remember, the coefficient in front of the n is the difference, going to be the common difference. So the fourth term, 5 times 4 plus 1, which is 21. Then it says find the ninth term. So I'm going to do 5 times 9 plus 1, which is 46. And the last one says find the 12th term, which is 5 times 12 plus 1, which is 61. So a lot of answers, but all you're doing there is plugging in the number of term it is. Number 2, find A6. You only got to find one term this time. So I'm going to plug in 6 in there. So it's going to look like the sixth term is 3 times 6 minus 5 times 4 times 6 plus 5. Let's keep working that out. 3 times 6 is 18 minus 5. That's 13 in that parentheses. 4 times 6 is 24 plus 5, which is 29. And if you do 13 times 29 on your calculator, which I'm doing as I speak, you get 377. So that is the sixth term of that sequence. Number 3 says find the partial sum S8, which means the sum of the first 8 terms. Well, the first term is 2. I'm going to add 2 and negative 5 and 8 and negative 11 and 14 and negative 17. Now, that's 6 of the terms. You got to keep going to get 8. The 7th term and the 8th term. And I'm going to add those together. Now, what I'm noticing is this. That's negative 3. That's negative 3. That's negative 3. That's negative 3. So there are 4 negative 3s. And if you add those up, if you add 4 negative 3s together, you're going to get negative 12. So that's how I would do it. You could also just punch in your calc, obviously. Number 4, sigma. Evaluate that one. So with sigma, remember you start with the bottom number. I'm going to plug that in. If I plug 1 in for that k, it gives me 1/2. If I plug in 2 for that k, I get 1/4. If I plug in 3, it's 1/6. If I plug in 4, it's 1/8. If I plug in 5, 1/10. And if I plug in 6, it's 1/12. I'm stopping with the 6 because that's the top number. Now, if I were you, I would take those numbers right there, punch them in your calculator. But when you do that, make sure you put a parentheses around each fraction. So I'm going to, even though you don't know I'm doing this, I'm going to pause the video and punch that in real quick. And when I punch it in, I do math frac, change it to a fraction. I'm getting 49/40. Might need to double check me there. That's what I got real quick on my calculator. Number 5, find the first 4 terms of the recursive sequence. We might have to omit this one. I'll go ahead and work it out here, and we'll decide this in class tomorrow. We didn't really talk a whole lot about recursive. When you see these terms right here, like the AN plus 1, that means the next term. AN means the previous term. So to get the next term, what this is saying is the next term is going to be 1 plus 1 over the previous term. And they should tell you what A1 equals right here, which they didn't. So let's just say A1 is 1. And that means if I'm going to find A2, which is the next term, I'm going to do 1 plus 1 over the previous term, which is 1, which gives me 2. To find A3, I'm going to do 1 plus 1 over the previous term. The previous term was 2. Now we get 1 and 1/2. To get the fourth term, I would do 1 plus 1 over the previous term. The previous term was 3/2 or 1 1/2. Anytime you have 1 over anything, it's really the reciprocal at the bottom. That's 2/3. That's 1 and 2/3. And there's the first 4 terms because the first term was 1, and then the other 4. All right, and there's the first 5. Number 6 says find the first term and the common difference. This one should be one of the easiest ones on the test. They're asking you for A1 and D. That's all they're asking you for. A1 is the first term. First term is 5. D is the common difference. If you're looking at those right there, the difference is 6. And remember, if you can't tell by looking, the way you find the common difference, the D, is you do the second term minus the first term. That always gives it to you. Number 7 says find the 16th term of that sequence. You have the formula up there on top of your test. The AN equals A1 plus N minus 1 times D. A1 is the first term is 9. I'm going to do n minus 1. N is 16 this time. 16 minus 1 is 15 times d. The sequence is going down 4, so my d is -4. And guys, you can punch it in your calculator just like that if you want to, or you can just work it out in your head and you get -51. Number 8, now going a little bit backwards. This time I'm saying 110 is one of the terms of this. What term is it? Like, what number term is it? So I know the last term is 110 this time. The first term, I'm using the same formula. A1 is 2. What I don't know is I don't know what n is, but I do know what d is. D is 4, just by looking right there, or subtracting the second term minus the first term. Move the 2 over. That's going to give me 108 equals n minus 1 times 4. Now, what I'm going to do right here, instead of distributing that 4, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 108 divided by 4 is 27 equals n minus 1. Move that 1 over, I get 28. So what the deal is 110 is a 28th term in that sequence. Number 9, find the sum of the first 18 terms of that one. So this is a sum. You're doing addition this time. So I'm going to say sum of the first 18. This is the sum formula on the top of your test. 18 over 2, parentheses, first term plus last term. The first term is 5. I don't know the last term. Anytime you're doing this formula and you do not know something in it, you're going to go back and do the first formula, the AN formula. So this time, since it's 18 terms, I'm looking for the 18th term to put right there. So I'm going to do the first term plus n minus 1 times d. N is 18, so I'm doing 17 times d, which is 3, because that's the difference in the terms. If I work that out, that's 51 plus 5, that's 56. Now, that's not the answer, but it goes right there in my parentheses. So the sum of the first 18 is going to be 9 on the outside, 61 on the inside. It's going to be whatever 9 times 61 is. And 9 times 60 is 540. 9 times 1 is 9. So 549 should be the answer right there. Number 10, find the sum of the first 100. This is actually easier than the last one, even though it looks like a word problem. The first 100 natural numbers of these are 1, 2, I should be doing addition, 3, 4. And since there are the first 100 of them, you're going to stop at 100. Okay, that's where it stops. So here I go. Sum of the first 100 is 100 over 2. The first term is 1. The last term is 100. And I'm just going to work that out. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And here I have 101. And if I multiply those two, I get 50, 50. And there you go. Number 11, sigma, and it's arithmetic. Okay, this one's going to be arithmetic tomorrow. So the same formula. The beauty of sigma is you have everything that you need. So I'm going to do the sum. Now n, remember when you do n with sigma, you do the top minus bottom and you add 1 back. Top minus bottom plus 1. So there are 40 minus 1 is 39 plus 1 is 40. So there's 40 terms divided by 2. I need the first term. The way you get the first term is you plug 1 in there. If I plug 1 in there, it gives me 4. To get the last term, you plug 40 in there. If I plug 40 in there, I get 121. So what that's going to give me is 20 on the outside, 125 on the inside, and I've got to multiply those two together. And when I do that, I get 2,500. And there you go. Number 12, these are kind of mixed up a little bit. Not sure what happened with my thing here, but just got to bear with me. Didn't see it, so I started the video. Number 12 is just this exponent problem right here. The -3 on the outside goes for everything. So what it gives me basically is this. It gives me -3 to the -3 power. When you raise a power to a power, you multiply. So if you do -4 times -3, that's 12. -5 times -3 is 15. And I'm done, except I can't leave this. That negative exponent on the 3 means I have to cube the -3 and flip the -3. Okay, so the x12, z15 are fine, but I'm going to flip the -3, so it's going to the bottom, and I've got to cube it. If I cube -3, that's like doing -3 times -3 times -3, which is, by the way, -27, and it goes on the bottom because the exponent was negative. Number 13 is this right here. I know that it's confusing how it looks on my video, but it looks better on your test. Just writing it of notation. -4 is going to have a parentheses because there's no equal sign. 11 is going to have a bracket because it does. That's all you do there. Number 14 is square. Multiply double square. So if I square 4x, you got to square the 4 and the x like that. I'm going to multiply these two terms together, and if I do that, I get 20xy. But you got to double the 20. make it 40xy. Then I'm going to square the second one, which means I square the 5 and the y, and I get 25y squared. These are all really quick. They're just the old stuff. 15, small, big, cube root. So here we go. Small, big, cube root, square, multiply, change the sign, square. And that's all there is. All these are just like one-step things pretty much until we get to here. Okay, so 16. 16 says multiply, which means I'm going to try to factor and cancel. That's a difference of squares on the top, so I can factor that m plus n times m minus n over r plus s. I don't know why it says multiply when the sign clearly says divide, so let's just forget that. Because you're dividing, I'm going to flip the second. Remember, keep change flip. So I'm flipping this one, and then I'm looking to cancel. Do not cancel until you factor. You gotta factor first. R plus s's are gone. M plus n's are gone. The only thing that leaves is that m minus n on the top. Guys, that's it. That's your answer. 17, maybe, I don't know. Out of the review ones, it's probably the toughest one. Not that it's that tough, but start with the denominator here. It's going to be x plus 4, x minus 4. And to add fractions together, you got to find the LCD. And the LCD is every single thing in the denominator. So there's an x plus 4, and there's an x minus 4. And what you ask yourself, you look at this denominator there, and you're like, what does it need that's down here? What are you missing? What's it missing? Well, it's missing the x minus 4. So I'm going to do 5 times the x minus 4, which is 5x minus 20. Now this fraction right here has it all. So I'm just going to bring it down to 3. And I'm done except for I need to add the negative 20 and the 3. So I get 5x minus 17 over x plus 4, x minus 4. That's it. 2 more. 18. This got messed up too. Simplify. So be careful here. I need to find the 4th root of 81. If I were you, I'm taking my calculator and punching in the 4th root of 81. And what's going to happen is going to give you 3. That just comes out even. And then divide your index into your exponent. We did this last week. 4 goes into 25 times. And guys, that's it. That's all there is to it. And the last one says find the domain of this fraction. Remember, the one thing about a fraction is you cannot have a 0 in your denominator. So I'm going to say, okay, the domain is going to be all x, such that x cannot equal 5 because if it equaled 5, it messes up the domain because you can't have 0 on the bottom. All right, hope that helps. Watch as much as you need to, the problems you need. I'll see you tomorrow. If you need help, I'll be there early, or I'll be in my classroom all day. Just come see me. See you then.